We made you all chairs up here. You can come right up front. Hello, Kendall and Aubrey.
Man, I got all kind of tea and everything. I'm still doing good.
Hey, Brooklyn, you can come right up here with Aubrey.
That 1 o'clock to 3, 4 o'clock was the hardest part. I need to get back on it. I know I do. I just haven't.
Hello, gentlemen.
I see that you waited for us.
We did, and we gave you the seats of honor. How are Trace and Reese this evening?
I've got 5. You ready? You all good? Okay. Lisa, are you ready? Okay. Alrighty, I've got 5 p.m. and I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Alrighty, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody will stand. Dr. Barr, you want to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, we will move into delegations, and I believe we have Miss Veda Woodford.
Good evening. Dear Gilmer County Board of Education, thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm speaking as a board member from the Gilmer County Christian Academy. As members of an educational board, I believe we can agree that we all want what is best for our children and students. I believe it is also fair to say, as board members and parents, that no two children are exactly the same. And I believe we could also agree not all children learn the same. That is what brings us here today, to inform you of our intent to open a micro school for students starting the 2023-2024 school year. As parents and educators, our group got together to see what else there might be to help provide an education to children in Gilmer County and surrounding counties. In previously working in Gilmer County schools, I can say we have some phenomenal teachers. However, I can also say the job of an educator has changed over the years. It is very difficult for a teacher to do the job they were hired for, teach. Yes, an educator should possess qualities of compassion, kindness, creativity, and much more. However, the job of a teacher is to, in fact, teach. Due to mandates handed down from the state, it makes it very difficult to be a teacher in today's classroom and try to meet the needs of a diverse group of learners. Some classrooms can have close to 30 students in them at a time. It is nearly impossible for individual students' needs to be met in a class that size. A micro school allows teachers the flexibility to adjust the curriculum to meet the needs of the students as they see best. A micro school gives the teacher an opportunity to work with a much smaller group of students to help reteach and enrich. The Gilmer County Christian Academy will be able to offer a rigorous education that is Christ-centered. We can have strong academics with the foundation being the Bible. A micro school also allows for high expectations when it comes to discipline and respect. At Gilmer County Christian Academy, we want to create a learning environment that meets students' academic needs, but also prepares students to be independent, self-disciplined, respectful, Christian citizens who make a positive contribution to our society. We see Gilmer County Christian Academy as another option to help meet students' educational and Christian needs. So we come here today needing nothing from you, but hoping to receive your blessing for this endeavor, because we all want what is best for our children. Such are the words from 3 John chapter 1, verse 3. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ada. Alrighty, we will move into reports. And we have first the Gilmer County High School M3T team.
It's gonna fall.
Not like you can read it, but you know, so we bring it for
Super
aesthetic
glasses
purposes.
now.
So we just wanted to update you guys. We're nearing the end of what is my 3rd year as a fellow with the M3T project. And if you don't know what M3T is, that is, I have to remind myself, Mountaineer Mathematics Master Teacher. So I'm the only fellow in Gilmer and all of our surrounding geographical counties. There's no one in Lewis, there's no one in Braxton, there's no one in Calhoun. As well. Like the closest person to me geographically is in Wirt, or even in Wood County. So what we do is we pinpoint certain aspects of what's happening inside of our math classrooms that we want to test, trial, run data on, and make continuous improvement within our classrooms using PDSA cycles, which is Plan, Do, Study, Act. So we took all this data in our classrooms this year, mine in 7th, Morgan in 6th grade, and Melissa with her juniors and seniors, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. And part of what we have to do every year is go to WVCTM and present. We presented twice, actually. We're only required to present once with this poster of what we've done with the fellowship. But we took it a step further this year and decided to share the strategies of what we were doing in our classrooms that have worked this year with math teachers from all over West Virginia. We had about 45 teachers in attendance of our session, which was pretty cool considering we were up against the keynote speaker. So he was doing a private session after his keynote, which most people were super excited about, and we still had almost 50 teachers attend our session. So I'm gonna let Morgan talk first about some of the stuff that we did. We focused again on math vocabulary this year, which was our focus for last year as well, and we've seen some really great improvements with our students' vocabulary. So Morgan's gonna talk to you a little bit about that.
All right, so one of the strategies that we tried this year was just to focus on one vocabulary word at a time. We did what we called a word bank strategy, and we started out giving the kids a vocabulary word and words that we wanted them to use in their definition when they were defining this vocabulary to check for understanding. And we found out that that strategy right off didn't work. Our data said that they were struggling with this. So we adapted our strategy and gave them kind of like a fill in the blank definition, and they needed to use those same key terms to fill in the blank to define this word. And that led us to see that kids were actually using these words in class in unstructured discussion time between each other, not when I'm like, okay, let's make sure we're using this word, but they were using it on their own and knowing what it meant and understanding what it meant. So these strategies, we saw firsthand that they're actually working and bringing attention to these words that kids weren't knowing before when we were looking at data that they were afterwards.
So we adapted it a little bit when we realized that like giving them the words and letting them define it on their own didn't work. We did the fill in the blank. So then we decided that when we are first introducing a word, we would do the fill in the blank method. And then after we've done it for a while, then we would let them like create the definition on their own with their word bank words.
So the point of what we decided to do with this, the huge focus of it is unfortunately standardized testing. Kids cannot understand what to do with an SAT word problem if they don't understand the vocabulary that's in the problem. Same for GSA. The problems on GSA are at a much higher level. You're talking about like depth of knowledge 3s and 4s on that test as well. And without the academic vocabulary and understanding that vocabulary, they're going to struggle with what am I even supposed to do with this question. So we knew that that was one of the reasons that we needed to do what we were doing, was that we weren't giving vocabulary instruction. We just figured, like, I said this word 15 times in class, how do you not know what it means? Mm-hmm. And so we're doing it more intentionally to make sure that they are understanding the vocabulary that we're using. We're not necessarily giving them like a vocabulary section on their math test, but those words are in their directions. So if you don't understand what I mean by reduce this complex fraction because you don't know what a complex fraction is, you're gonna struggle with what am I even supposed to do on this part of the test. So that's where we that's the reason for our focus. And we've always realized too, we realized this last year when we did this as well, is that we assume that coming to us out of elementary school, kids have had these types of discussions and they should know how to have discourse in the math classroom and talk about their thinking, and they always don't. And that's not necessarily anybody's fault, but we just make that assumption, like, how are you not talking about your problem-solving process? And we realize it's because they've never really been taught how to have those discussions. So we're focusing particularly on the middle school side of the building of having those types of discussions in class, which is trickling not only into math classes on the high school side of the building, but even science teachers are saying that kids are having better discussions during their labs than they've had before, and they know that it's because they've spent, you know, at least 2 years with us having those types of discussions. So next year, so we're wrapping up this year with some things that we learned at WVCTM that we're kind of implementing in our classrooms. We've actually been taking time and giving up a planning period to observe each other and give each other some feedback about what the three of us are seeing in our classrooms, which has been huge for the three of us as well. Next year is my fourth school year in the fellowship. I'm hoping to expand this team. We still have 2 other high school math teachers and 1 other middle school math teacher. I've been told that I can expand it down into the elementary to 5th and 4th grade. So I'll be reaching out to those math teachers too to see if they want to start to implement some of the stuff that we're doing as well. But we've always had support from administration at the high school. We've always had the support of the superintendent with what we're doing as well. So we appreciate being able to, you know, leave our classrooms for 2 days to go to WVCTM and learn and present as well, and for people to see that it doesn't matter that, you know, we're not in Mon County and we're not in Cabell where there's all this money and hundreds of thousands of kids, that, you know, we're still making an impact on what they're doing. So if you guys don't have any questions.
Can you see improvement test-wise?
Yes. Yeah, and like what we did with the data too was we collected like their slips of paper. So basically what we did with this word bank strategy was, like, if I wanted you to define circumference, but I specifically wanted you to use the words diameter and radius in your definition. The first time we gave that to them, like, we had kids who were just defining like diameter and radius and circumference on their own, but I was like, no, you're supposed to make it like into one definition. So that's where the fill in the blank came from, was like, put these words where they actually belong. And I've noticed that I don't have kids coming up to me during a test and being like, what do you want me to do right here? Because they can read through those directions and they can read through those problems and pick out the pieces of what they're actually supposed to do much better than they have before.
And of course, I'm a proponent of bringing it down to the elementary school too, especially now that we've departmentalized, you know, Tyson, where we have the specific math teachers, that would make it much easier to share the knowledge than, you know, when they were doing it all.
And could you go in a little bit of detail for the board and people listening about, you know, I've attended these meetings online, and I guess exactly what you do in these meetings. It's a sharing of model practices.
Yeah, so I even have a meeting at 8 o'clock tonight, so I, as a fellow, I am required to do much more than what they do. There was an application process, there was an interview process for me to be selected. Usually twice a month we meet on Zoom on Monday evenings from 8 to 9 p.m. Sometimes it is all of the fellows from the 3 cohorts in the meeting, and sometimes it is a whole network meeting, and we're talking hundreds of people in a Zoom meeting. And this is what we're doing, is we're discussing what we decided to test, how it's changed for our kids. We're getting ideas from each other constantly as a way to network with one another that we wouldn't be able to without this network that we've all, you know, created and we've grown from. This summer, I again will be in Morgantown for 4 days at the Fellowship Summer Institute is what they call it. We're doing a huge impact study and looking at what we can do better to get our kids specifically looking at data and statistics. It's always the lowest place that we test when we look at substandards, because really, and I'm guilty of it too, and I know Morgan is too, it's what the state tells us to teach last after testing. So we're gonna look at how we can get kids, particularly in middle school, to retain what we've done with them in middle school before they hit those algebra standards that are also data standards, before they hit those geometry standards that are also data standards. So we're not talking about kids who are gonna take like AP stats. We're just talking about data and statistics across the board, and how we're gonna get those kids to retain that information. So, and, you know, we have quarterly updates that we invite superintendents and curriculum specialists to and stuff, so they can see what we're doing as well. But we do, I mean, it's been a huge, I've said it before, it's been the greatest professional development that I've ever had in 22 years in the classroom, because we are choosing what we are looking at inside our classrooms, and it changes every year because our kids are different every year. So where last year it was, you know, it was still vocabulary centered, but not in the way that we're doing it this year, and it's just been different when we're seeing bigger gaps with COVID than we've seen this year. And so we're just trying to, we can't stop teaching what we have to teach to fill in those gaps, so we're just trying to find a way to make it better.
Thank you all for all your hard work.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, we'll move further on down, and we have the West Virginia PBS Writing Contest participants from Gilmer County Elementary School, 5th grade.
So this is a West Virginia PBS writing contest. This is a contest that they do yearly when it comes to the West Virginia PBS. It's a contest that's done through Charleston, through the Department of Education in Charleston, but they partner with PBS, which is the Public Broadcasting Service. So with this, I chose 8 students. I have 5 of them here today. I'm just gonna read off the names of students. Whenever I call your name, just stand up so they know that you're here. So we have Aubrey Atkins. We have Reese Klum. Did I say your last name right? Okay. Kendall Frazier. Trace Gray. Brooklyn Jones. There's Lily Moss, who can't be here today. Willow Ramey, who can't be here today. And then Ryland Thompson, who can't be here today. So I want to move on to the next part. So I have to jump back over here to get the presentation rolling. Should brought my clicker today. Trying to get it up. So the WVPBS writing contest, this is pulled exactly from their website. This explains what it is. So it's competition. It goes from kindergarten through 5th grade, and they help to explore students' creative writing abilities when it comes to just writing and illustration. So they are making a picture book, and these 8 students have made their own picture books. So they've done all the writing, they've done all the editing, they've done all the rising work, and then they've done all the picture work. And they worked a lot with Miss Chapman, who's the art teacher at the elementary school, to get this done. So their stories they're really well done, they're really in depth. And I want to go down to the selection process, so I'll go back over here.
You can just stay there if you want to. You don't have to go
Can you
there.
hear
It'll catch on that mic, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So, character education, these students were selected for character education. It's something that we do at the elementary school. Is cooperation, responsibility, and respect. These students are phenomenal at that. There's writing skills. These students are one of the best when it comes to creative writing, when it comes to informative writing, or even opinionated writing. Then they have problem-solving abilities. These students are really good, great problem solvers. Since I teach science, it's really about problem solving, solving problems, and so that's one thing I noticed these students are really excellent at. So next, I just want to get right into the stories. Just don't want to waste any time. First off is Aubrey Atkins with her story, Gone Fishing. And actually have, so I can click on here. I didn't have a copy to give her, so she's just going to be able to read this. If she wants to, I'll. Want to read it? I should have zoom in. Can y'all see it?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have copies to give you all too, just so you have them. The copies are in order, the students in the presentation. So as we go through, you can just kind of look at the first copy, then go on to the next copy from there. And I only made 5, so you might have to share with some of them.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome. Smith, illustrated by
I didn't know one. I'll react.
Aubrey.
About the author, Aubrey Atkins. I am a fifth grade student from Glenville, West Virginia. I like fishing, hunting, and playing in the woods. Camping is one of my favorite activities. Dedication. Dedicated to my grandpa, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. My trip started off with getting into an argument with my husband, so I got the boat on the trailer of my truck. I will be needing a tackle box as well. One last thing, a snack for the road. I love little bikes and country things. I want to take that to get to the truck. Now we turn on the control in the river. Very well, we want mom to get out of here. That's what they did, are trying to keep her though. Beep, 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 flash, click, clank. First test of the day, I got a bite. Oh, oh, take it, yes, yes. A big trout on the big tower. I have to book with the trout, the net is too far for me to grab with it. Please don't flop around. I really don't want any cuts to get. Big pike stay on. Oh no, he popped off. That's it. I'm changing to the bait caster. The bait caster has a spinner on it. That might get me a fish of some sort. Maybe even a bite too. And if I don't get another fish, I'll be okay. I already have a trout that will feed me just fine, although that pike would have been a nice hookup. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you what my bait of choice was. Big power to catch my trout. I used a spinning rod for the pike, but sadly, I did not catch the pike. I already have a trout, so I will call it a day. I would stay on the but I missed it.
Next, we have Trace Gray with The Big Hunt. You want to read it?
Got it, I'll bet.
What we might do for this one, if you don't want to read it, Trace, we can have the board members kind of look over the story and maybe they want to ask you some questions. Would that be okay? So I'll give you all some time to look over the story. I can even put it up on here so everyone else can see it. I'll just kind of slide this so you can see it.
So what were you hunting, Trace? A deer. Did you get it?
Gotta read the story to find out.
Did you name the deer?
I was just gonna ask.
We were gonna name JP that, believe it or not. I'm just kidding, we weren't.
The deer's name is Stud Daddy. I don't know.
Trace, what were you playing your video games
Good
on?
question.
A PS3. Okay.
Good choice. Good
Trace,
choice.
did you build this deer stand? No? That's a nice deer stand.
I am a neighbor that lived there before.
Uh-huh.
He built his deer stand for his dad to hunt out of, but he gave us permission to hunt it.
So now it's your stand.
Well,
You're hunting.
Let's go.
Do you cook Spam in your deer stand?
I don't think I do.
What do you make from the deer?
What
do you make from the deer?
We usually cube it, and sometimes we'll make jerky.
I love deer jerky.
We'll
Well-
cube it and we'll can it.
Congratulations, Trace.
And then take some pictures.
You didn't take the pictures?
I did.
You did? Okay, cool.
Good job.
All right, well done, buddy.
Good job, Trace.
Okay, next we have Brooklyn Jones with Land Dish. thing with curriculum, I don't think she really wants to read. I'll let y'all look through her story just a little bit. Again, it's called Land Dish. You can ask her some questions once you look through those. And I'll go ahead and kind of display her story. I'll go through it, just slide through it so everyone can see it.
Fish wanting to vacation in the desert. Interesting.
Is it like Sandy the squirrel that vacations next to SpongeBob? I
Yes.
guess?
Does anyone have any questions?
Brooklyn, did you color all of these pages? It's really good.
Do you like to get your nails done?
I thought I did, I thought I was done last time.
Thought you did, and the last time was not good.
Well, good job, Brooklyn.
Yeah, good
Thank
job.
you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
So next, Lily's isn't here today, but her story is called Spy Life. I'll just kind of slide through the story, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Ding dong, just in time. Mm-hmm. What's that?
I like her Mr. Potato Head.
Also, another student that can be here today is Willow Ramey. Her story is Diary of a Baker. Look over that story as well.
Reese, I didn't know you spelled your name like that. I learned something new today.
Learn something new every day.
That's right.
Next, we have The Alien World War by Reese Clue.
Plum.
Mr. Seal?
Every little bit, I get the name wrong. I said it right first. Reese. Clue, Plum, which one? You can tell me. Plum. Reese Plum. Got that? Okay, so we have The Alien World War. Do you want to read?
Oh, no.
Horrible.
FBIS, I like that. FBIS, that's funny.
So I'll go ahead and just select several scenes that we have The Alien World War, but written and illustrated by Reese.
Hey, you got pretty good vocabulary, buddy. using words like valiant and tyranny. It's pretty impressive.
When did I use those?
Interrogation.
Did you write this?
You knows.
Starting to sound like you didn't write it, Reese. I'm just kidding.
Let me try and find this.
Heroes for many valiant battles. They spent the greater part of the last 2 Sanyos defending purple dino and their eggs from tyranny. That's pretty good.
Where do you see that? Right in the line.
Reese, you're acting like you didn't.
Is it the last page?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I did. I wrote it in black.
I like the message. They dare attack us. We will get them back. The war is not over yet.
To be continued. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So, are you going to write another chapter to this? Is there going to be another story?
Question.
Oh, to be continued.
Awesome. So you like to write?
Continued.
No,
Well, it seems like you do. This is a good story.
I'm good at writing. I like to write.
Well done, buddy.
Dig deep.
Yeah.
done, well done.
Yeah, good job, buddy.
Good
Good job, Bruce.
So the next story we have is The Secret by Ronald Thompson. She couldn't be here today, so again, The Secret, I'll just kind of go through that one, and we'll move on to the last one, Single Prayer. And then we'll go ahead and move on to The Zoo School by Kendall Frazier and Kendall. You'll read, right?
Really good illustrations on that one too.
Okay.
There was a large population. The animals, the horses, and the visitors all loved it there. But they put one thing a little odd about it. The animals always said to you when you walked by, well, almost everybody loved it. Except one particularly important person who oversaw everything in this town.
So I'm dying to know what the song was. Maybe some LL Cool J or.
Yeah. As somebody who's been told many, many times, shut up, I don't like your loud music, I related to this. I want to know why Altoona? Why was it set in Altoona, of all places?
That's a real place, right?
It is, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, do they have a zoo there?
Yeah.
Altoona's a real place.
Good job.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
job. Good job, guys. Thank you, girls.
And for these students, I actually have them medals and certificates for them. They're just simple writing medals, so as I call their name, they'll come to collect these and certificates. Just basic certificates that I made on Canva with a nice little sticker on it that says excellence. So Aubrey Atkins. Want to put on? Trace Gray.
You should wear it like that.
Brooklyn Jones. Reese. Forgot to pronounce the last name.
Plum.
You want your medal? Reese. You want your medal?
Race.
Oh, I think I might need that. I don't need it.
Kendall. And lastly, the side that I have is just a general thank you to the Board of Education, thank you to the parents and the students for their hard work. I'll just go ahead and display this. So it's just generally thank you for allowing us to present our picture books. Thank the parents for allowing their children to attend this activity, to receive their medals and to receive their certificates. And then thank you to the students for their dedication and their hard work, because at this point, those scores are done. They're going to be sent out tomorrow for the contest. And we'll know, hopefully by mid-April, if they do win. There's a chance, hopefully I can get first, second, third place at this contest. And the winner of this contest, whoever does win, because again, they may not be one of us, but hopefully it's one of us, they'll get a chance to make a short film with PBS or even an animated film. And that could be anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes long. But again, it's going to be with PBS if they do win. So I think that's something that's phenomenal if they do get a chance to win.
All right, let's give everybody, the students, one more round of applause. You all done a great job.
That's done for me. I will collect a picture of these students outside, so parents, at this point, you don't have to stay any longer. I'm going to go ahead and
Mass migration.
All right, now we're in the business. Alrighty. We will continue down the agenda and move on to a report from the Calhoun Gilmer Career Center. Dr. Barr.
Let's see. Dr. Minnie, you want to start?
Sure. We met on March 21st at the Gilmer County Career Center. Minutes were approved from the previous meeting. Mr. Stearns asked to host a team to present to the council. This team has been reestablished at Calhoun Gilmer Career Center, and it took second place in our recent state HOSA competition. The students were very enthusiastic about the competition. They also completed a project-based learning project on vaping. Next, the ProStar program presented. They also took second place in the Hospitality Cup in the state, which is a major feat for both of these. These are all of the CTE organizations competing against each other and all the CTE groups across the state. So those are two major accomplishments we'd like to highlight. Yeah. You know, both of those teachers that are in those programs are phenomenal. Mr. McCormick and the team at County Gilmer Career Centers, he's a unique character to have, and I think the students would really enjoy his presence. I know he's reached out to the board. He'd like to cook for us. He'd like to have his students provide services here. Another thing that I'd like to highlight is their Teacher of the Year. Miss Tracy Ferguson was selected as County Gilmer Career Center Teacher of the Year. She's a Gilmer County native, Gilmer County High School teacher in the past, so we'd like to highlight that. The council then paid the bills. They did the financial report, budget transfers, and supplements. One of the items on the personnel agenda I'd like to highlight is the retirement of Shirley Huff. She's a longtime educator, administrator, worked here in Gilmer County Schools in many capacities through the years she's retiring. We all would like to wish her, thank her for her years of service and wish her a happy retirement. One final update for the community: we're going to have the LSI linkage meeting to Gilmer County, Gilmer Career Center. That's April 20th at 5:30 p.m. And then,
I would just like to congratulate the director, Becky Swisher, on their return to the HOSA competition. It's been a while since Gilmer Calhoun Career Center has been involved in that. One student did place second, and they are on their way to Dallas to compete in nationals, which is pretty cool. Congratulations to Mr. McCormick and the hospitality team who came in second at state. They only missed first by 0.18%. So it was a close race. They showed us pictures of the menu. It was filet mignon and an onion garlic gravy, fried asparagus with a carrot ring, gazpacho soup, lemon curd for dessert. That has got nothing to do with my update, but man, it looked awesome. I thought it came out of a cookbook, man. It was incredible.
What did he say about they wanted to cook for us?
Yeah, and I will support them in that.
I'll second that motion.
Another kind of exciting thing, April 18th, they're going to be getting their first electric bus out at the Gilmer County Career Center. I keep saying that. Calhoun Gilmer Career Center. And also they're going to be installing solar panels there. And not only that, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they are one of, if not the first school in the state to get that. And their own students are getting a paid apprenticeship to install these, which is not only a great opportunity for them, but this is something that's going to be happening more and more and more. So it's great that they get trained in such a thing and that they have that opportunity here in Gilmer and Calhoun County. So I was really happy to hear that. And that's my update.
Alrighty.
you would be very impressed with what the kids can make as far as food there. I mean,
I
it's
have been,
legitimately. I have told Lisa it's the highlight of my job as administrative council. The kids presented, it's practice for them. They've got board members and things down there, so they really do it up right, and they make a meal and they present it, and it's a part of their curriculum. And
I went last year.
It's great.
Food was great.
Not only that, they dress professional. I mean, they look the part.
It's a simulated workplace.
It is. It's
so they do
incredible.
The whole 9 yards.
Alrighty, we will move to the next update from the Policy Committee. The Policy Committee had a short meeting on March 23rd at 4 p.m. The committee went over a Gantt chart that was provided to us that has all the new Neola policy sections on it, and when we would like to get those policies completed and implemented into the system. We also looked at a chart that has each one of those sections will have a team that covers the policies within that section. There was a board member added to every team, along with some other additional people added, like the school nurse on the medical policies and different things like that. So those teams all have a team leader. They will be that team leader will schedule those team meetings and begin to work on the policies in that section. And then once they have those marked up and ready, they'll come back to the policy committee, and the policy committee will review them. And then we will wait until we have all of those done all at one time, and then put them out for 30-day review, and then adopt them as the new policies. That way we don't have policies in place from the new handbook and then policies in place from the old handbook trying to operate off two at the same time, is the way the committee suggested that we do that. Mr. Minnie, did I forget anything that you can think of?
I don't think, we are gonna provide, trainings to team leaders. The team leaders are mostly principals, directors. Most of the directors here at our office are team leaders, plus me, plus I believe Tyson and a few other folks that are team leaders. And, they will be presenting the average, time span that Sam Cobalt from, Neola said was 13 months. We hope to have it done a lot faster than that, but, it is a very significant amount of work. The first lift is very significant. After that, our policies will be in line and a lot easier updated on a more regular basis.
And more accessible to the public. You know, we'll be using the board doc
Yep.
program, which will allow anyone to go to our website and search for whatever interest they have. They'll put it in the search and it'll bring that policy up, telling them about it.
All right, I think that's all from the policy committee. So at that time, we'll move down the agenda to the consent agenda and start with the minutes from March 3rd, 13th, special meeting and regular meeting.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes for
Second.
the March 13th, 2023.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay, all right. It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from March 3rd, special meeting, March 13th, special meeting, and March 13th, regular meeting. Is there any further discussion to the main motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Alrighty, we will move to the treasurer's report. Clay?
Good evening again. What I have presented and was in your packets tonight was the schedule of checks to be written. I will highlight one because it's going to be impacting the county very soon. One of the checks on there was to ESG, and that should round up most of the HVAC equipment. They will be on site this coming Saturday. They plan to work this week of spring break. And last updates I had from them, I think I had a conversation with Jeff Allred last Thursday. They believe, and we're triple checking to make sure they had all the equipment, but all of our HVAC upgrades should be done in county with the exception of the 2 units on the gym here by the time that they leave next week, pending everything goes as planned. Are there any other questions with the schedule of checks to be written? I just wanted to highlight that because you're really going to see that project take off.
Make a motion to approve the schedule of checks to be written.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the schedule of checks as written. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
I had one more update that I just wanted to make all of you guys aware of. I had sent you stuff, the results of the fiscal year 22 audit. I just wanted to bring to the public's attention our FY22 audit. We received no findings, no comments, which is exceptional. That's the best in an audit that you can have. Also, recently, we had our federal programs audit. Again, no findings, no comments from the state and the federal people that perform those audits. We also just received our 3-year monitoring report. No findings, no comments for that. So that is a good thing for Gilmer County. So I just wanted to make special note of that. Thank Shelley Mason with federal programs and that monitoring. That's continual that she and I work on with the monitoring. So just good things happening, good progress. Just hope everybody keeps up the good work.
Yeah, I applaud everybody that
Yeah.
got that.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you, Ms. Mason. Alrighty, we will move into new business. Letter A, approval of policy 3084, exemption to compulsory school attendance requirement for homeschooled students. And I believe that has been on review,
Yeah, it's just a
so it's just approval.
So I make a motion to approve policy 3084, the exemption to compulsory school attendance requirement for homeschool students.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve policy 3084, exemption to compulsory school attendance requirement for homeschooled students. Is there any further discussion to the main motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Alrighty. We will move to place on review, fast track the process, policy 3205, the school Noxalone policy. I don't know if I said that right, but there's a doctor
Close
right
enough.
there. So,
Narcan.
Dr. May, you have
Yeah,
updates to that?
We have a presentation, we've been asked by the West Virginia School Board Association. I'll refer back to you if you guys would like for me to show this video. I'm prepared and ready to do that. It is a lengthy video. I think you would find it very informative. It's called One Pill Can Kill. It's about the fentanyl crisis that now is happening. And it's been recommended throughout the West Virginia School Board Association that we show this video. And it is powerful. So I would like to show this to you all, and then the reason we would like to fast track, and I have added the formation of policy section there under Gilmer County Schools Policy 1010 to waive the rules up on 4/5 of a vote due to this situation being a substantial detriment to our school system if somebody would happen to have an overdose. We don't currently have a way to respond to that, and we need to get that as quickly as possible. I think we're one of only 6 counties in the state, but this is something that the state's rolled out very quickly, and it's very important to Dr. Rhodes, the state health officer, and I gave that report last time, that they asked us to prepare. This came from Jim Brown. He forwarded this video, West Virginia School Board Association. I'd like to show that video now, if you don't mind. I hope it plays.
I'm Brad Paisley, and I'm a game changer.
Game changer is absolutely going to lead this state forward.
I'm Joe Manchin, and I'm a game changer.
I'm Shelley Moore Capito, and I'm a game changer.
It's time to make a difference here in West Virginia. I'm a game changer.
Game Changer is a student-powered substance misuse prevention movement. We're working in West Virginia schools to prevent opioid and other drug use before it starts, and empower young mountaineers to make healthy choices and live drug-free lifestyles.
Become a game changer so that we can make a difference with young people. That'll help us all in our society in the future.
I'm a game changer. We can defeat this opponent.
For the kids in this state, let's absolutely grab that rope together and run across the finish line.
The opioid crisis came in 3 waves. More than 2 decades ago, the first wave. Big drug companies started pushing out stronger and stronger addictive pain pills, getting hundreds of thousands of Americans irrevocably hooked and hijacking people's lives. When the prescription crackdown finally came, the second wave hit. People struggling with addiction were forced to turn to the street, where heroin was cheaper than black market pharmaceuticals. But compared to prescribed pills, heroin was unpredictable and dangerous. Many lost their lives. Now, the third wave is cresting. The crisis has taken a new, even darker turn with the advent of a synthetic opioid, 50 times stronger than heroin. It's called fentanyl. It's a stone cold killer, and it's ending up in everything. I've spent a lot of my life in West Virginia, playing basketball at WVU, cheering my sister on the court, and my brother on the football field. So I really care about the state, and especially young people coming up today. Maybe you've seen the billboards on the highway that say, "One pill can kill." It sounds scary, but I've got more questions than answers about what is going on with fentanyl in West Virginia. I've partnered with an amazing nonprofit called Game Changer and invited teenagers from all over the state to see what they know and what they want to know. Together, we're going to investigate why and how one pill can kill. about yourself. Kai, you want to start?
Yeah, my name's Kai. I'm from Honduras High School, and I play guitar.
I'm Caitlin. I'm from North Marion High School. I'm in theater, choir, speech and debate team.
My name's Aaliyah. I'm from Robert Seaberg High School, and I have 3 snakes.
My name's Jacob. I go to Scott High School. A fun fact about me is I have been in theater 4 years.
I'm Sierra. I go to Huntington High, and I play roller derby, and I picked up guitar recently.
Hello, I'm Lindsay. I go to Bridgeport Middle, and I play soccer there. I'm Aiden. I go to Milton, and I play sports.
I'm Tristan Hornbuckle, and I go to Huntington High School, and I do basketball and track.
My name is Annabelle, and I go to Fairmont Catholic, and I like to play soccer.
Awesome. Okay, so before I forget, what I want you guys to do with this little piece of paper is write down the name of someone in your life that you love the most. I want to find out what you guys are curious about and really dig into the root of this fentanyl problem. Can you guys raise your hand if you have been personally affected by the opioid crisis? Wow.
I have a lot of friends that I know that struggle with addiction, and I try to sympathize with them. A lot of them like to hide it because it's really depressing.
Addiction is something that's like always been prevalent in my mind and something I know about because it's something my family's struggles with a lot historically.
I have a friend, his dad overdosed and actually did die because he had something that was laced with just a tiny bit of fentanyl.
I mean, this is very tough stuff. We want to create a safe space here for this conversation, so if at any point you feel uncomfortable, please feel free to just step away, and that's okay. Now, Annabelle and Lindsay, you two are in middle school, so that's a different environment.
I have heard about it, but no one in my school has went through it. Yeah, I heard about it too. I haven't seen it though.
I wouldn't have imagined in middle school that it would be like this big of a deal in high school, but I can tell you guys right now it will. A lot of freshmen will do that and start vaping, stuff like that, and experimenting with that just because they want to fit in with that high school crowd.
Peer pressure looks a lot different than what people make it out to be. It's not more like a, hey, do this, but it's being around all those people, and that's what the peer pressure is. No one's forcing you to do it, but it's fitting in.
Right now, trying to fit in could be deadly because of a recent crisis of counterfeit pills that look like regular medicine but contain fentanyl.
Would you guys be able to recognize the difference between a real pill and a fake pill?
No.
Probably not.
No.
But let's try it out. Take one of these cards, each one of you. All right, so who thinks they have a pill that is real? I don't even know what color it's supposed to be. Like, I don't know what it's supposed to look like. Who thinks they have one that's fake? Okay, well, let's flip it over. And actually, the even number on the back of your card, you actually have the real pills. The fake are the odds. Let's look again at the odds. Would you have ever imagined that that is not a real pill?
This just looks like a regular like Advil or ibuprofen I would take.
It would be really easy to slip in something that was laced and you would be none the wiser.
So what kind of questions do you guys have?
Why are people just out here like creating, and how are they creating stuff like this?
How likely would it be that I would get something that was fake? Like, how quick would I get something that was fake?
We're taking those questions to an expert, a drug chemist at the DEA, whose job is to analyze fake pills when they are seized as evidence.
When did you first start seeing more fake tablets?
I would say probably in the last 3 or 4 years we started to see certainly an influx of them.
So what exactly goes into a fake pill?
So we'll find fentanyl, plus there's binders to keep everything together, there's tints, there's dyes. There will also sometimes be other drugs in addition to fentanyl.
When you are going through your testing, how often do you see tablets that contain a fatal dose?
The fatal dose is considered 2 milligrams as an average, so I would say if you have 10 tablets in your hand, maybe 6 of them are the concentration that can kill you. You don't know. Sometimes it's 4 times as much. And you have to come to a laboratory like this to have any kind of indication.
You wear the protective gear. Have you ever been exposed and had a serious incident?
Actually, I have. A few years ago, there was a laboratory accident on some of the equipment that I was working on, and I had fentanyl and heroin, and it was shot into my right eye. First thing that went through my mind, my God, I made a mistake, and my wife is going to be heartbroken. And I was rushed to the hospital. I was in the hospital all day, and the respiratory alarms kept going off despite the treatments they were giving me. The scientists that are analyzing the fake tablets that are out there, they're wearing the heavy mask, they're wearing the gloves, and they are suffering injuries as well. And that's when they have everything working in their favor, let alone someone that's taking a fake pill.
That's incredible.
We see fentanyl in a lot of different types of drugs, including it's been identified in vape. It's been identified in cocaine, it's been identified in methamphetamine. We also see it in Adderall type tablets, benzodiazepines, that's like Xanax. So as we talk about this today, 2 weeks later, it could be something different. 6 weeks later, it could be something different. The thing that doesn't change, it's the unknown. You would never knowingly put something in your mouth, say from a food product that came from a questionable source, or that mayonnaise in a cheese sandwich has been sitting outside for a week at a park bench. Never do that.
How likely is anything that someone would buy that they would get something fake?
If it's not from a pharmacist, it's not worth the risk.
So I'm gonna give you each a plate and a packet of sugar. And I want you to put the amount of sugar, if it were fentanyl, how much would be in a lethal dose? All right, Annabelle, let's take a look at your plate. Aiden, that might be too much. Sierra, that's a lot of fentanyl, I think. So it turns out, if sugar were fentanyl, it only takes 14 grains for a lethal dose.
One of my best friends last year, she overdosed on fentanyl. She went to the bathroom and she passed out on the floor. And that's when I went to use the restroom and I found her. And then she was in the hospital for like a week.
I'm sorry that you had to witness that. And this plays into exactly why we're here.
We're learning how easy it is to overdose. I'm going to talk to some folks on the front lines of this crisis to find out exactly what happens when a person is poisoned by fentanyl.
I mean, we don't see as much of the IV drug use like heroin, because people have seemed to gotten into their head that heroin and shooting up is really dangerous. But people don't seem to realize that, you know, pills and other drugs that have been safer also are starting to be laced with this fentanyl. It can be in marijuana and the synthetics, meth, cocaine, obviously heroin, and pills. And, you know, if someone thinks they're taking a Xanax or something just to relax, and they end up ODing on fentanyl.
Going on these calls, we see a lot of the same people over and over, and then sometimes we'll see brand new people who it's the first time they've ever tried it, and it's too much for them to handle, and they overdose the first time.
So it really is, they're not addicted, they took one pill and literally it was the fatal dose. Is it rare to get them too late or to come in and find someone that you can't save?
We actually see people who don't make it pretty often. A lot of people will do drugs alone, or even the people that they're around will, if they overdose, will just leave them there because they're too worried about themselves to get in trouble, to help somebody.
Paint a picture of what a family member, a mom, a dad would walk into and find their child, what it would look like when they've overdosed.
The patient is usually stiff, they're blue, you can't even recognize them as the person that they were.
So right now we're headed to what sounds like an overdose. I guess the caller called in and said that they think that her...
These are not actors, by the way. I had this kid in Braxton County High School. He's a real EMS guy in Marion County. His name's Luke Bonnet.
Hello, hey, can you hear me?
She has a pulse.
Okay.
Can I get the Narcan, Luke?
Yeah. Check her eyes real quick.
They're reactive.
Okay. Alright, ready for Narcan. Narcan going in. Blood pressure's real low. We're gonna need to get her to the ambulance. Watch that bump on the way out there. Alright, coming in. So now we're heading to the hospital. We ended up getting the patient stabilized in the back. We had to Narcan her. When we got on scene, she wasn't breathing. She did have a pulse, had some pinpoint pupils. We believe she probably took something laced with fentanyl or some other opioid. You know, these things, they don't always go this way. Thank goodness we got there in time.
So what's everyone's understanding about why kids are taking these pills and why kids are doing this?
I think there's a big diversity between it all. I think some because they want to get high, some because they're struggling with like depression or just to feel better about something that they're going through.
I think some teens they take it one day as an escape or to try it out, and then it leads into like every week or every other week, and then it leads into like every day. I don't think they know like what it will lead them down into.
Yeah, my mom, when she was in high school, she was addicted to opioids until 14 years ago. She's been clean. And she started just to get high, and then slowly and slowly it built into an addiction.
And eventually, you know, with addiction, you build up a tolerance, so you take more and more of it, and like to where you just need it to function as like a person.
I want to hear about your perspective on the stigma surrounding drugs and addiction.
People are afraid to face problems like that because they're afraid of what other people will think.
I think a lot of people don't realize that addiction is a disease. People can't control it.
I think that a lot of the time people don't realize they're not being open or accepting to like their friends because of the terms they use, like druggie, you're supposed to use, words that don't make them feel like you're knocking them down any.
We're heading to visit a family that has faced the stigma of addiction firsthand.
Her 21st birthday, she was doing really well, and so we took her to Vegas, and then we let her jump out of an airplane because that's what she wanted to do. And she gets to the bottom of the ground, and she goes, I want to go again. I want to go again, right now.
We always used to laugh because I thought she was so annoying as a kid. She followed me around everywhere. She wanted to be like, just like me. It didn't take long before that to wear off and we became best friends.
We grew up together, elementary school all the way up to high school and college, and lived together in college.
Yeah, we did everything together. We were just three best friends.
She came to us for her freshman year of college right before finals and sat down in that chair actually and said, I need help.
She was kind of open about it to us, but we didn't understand the severity of it. And she was talking about being high on this pill, and we didn't know what that was.
Right. Yeah, and I remember in high school, she pulled me into the locker room and she told me, Lindsay, like I have an issue, I can't stop using. We were like, I don't know, sophomores in high school, like 15, like I just didn't understand it. If I could go back and was educated at that age, we would have done a lot of things differently. We were just kids ourselves, you know?
And she was so good at hiding it. So yes, she told us, and then she
acted completely normal. So it's like she says, you know, one thing, but then she acts completely normal.
Towards the end, we realized it was way worse than we ever could imagine.
When I found out, I was in shock, complete shock.
You have a captain on the swim team, a captain on the cheerleading team, one of 3 girls to ever score over 100 goals on lacrosse, taking college courses in high school, and being very successful at all of it.
You look at somebody that's addicted to drugs as this person that's falling down and can't function, and she wasn't like that.
She was very strong, very strong. And I had full faith that she could beat it.
In rehab, they told us part of recovery is relapse.
The whole stigma part, you're embarrassed for anybody else to know. You don't want to disappoint anyone. Even though we had open dialogue and we invited, anytime you feel weak, you're welcome here, please come to us.
She couldn't bear to look at us and say, I messed up.
She relapsed and she died because of fentanyl. When her autopsy, the toxicology came back, there was 0 heroin, it was all fentanyl. It was enough to kill 6 of them. He said she died instantly. Everything was still in her hands when he pulled her out of the car. I felt really strongly about putting how she died in the obituary because people need to know this is real. This is happening everywhere.
We put up a billboard not far from here just to help get the word out.
We've lost like four or five, in our graduating class since we've graduated high school 10 years ago. Yeah. That's a lot.
This whole fentanyl epidemic, it's not an overdose, it's poisoning. And it'll take 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That particular day that Lauren passed on July 9th was actually my parents' 60th wedding anniversary. So my dad was over there making dinner for my mom, and I had to walk across the street and tell them that.
It's so hard because you can't go backwards. You can't, this isn't something you can fix.
What are some strategies that you guys think would be a good idea or be effective to kids that are using? How you would talk with them about it?
But you have to do it in a supportive way and let them know that you're in their corner.
Do you guys have a trusted adult in your life that you would feel comfortable going to maybe say that you're worried about someone, or do you think that would be a deal breaker in your friendship?
When you bring an adult into a situation that involves teenagers and substances, you have to accept that if they find out that you're the person who brought in the adult, you have to be prepared to take all the blame for that.
Would you be comfortable and confident enough and strong enough to go and say that to someone that you care about, but that you know is in need of help?
Yeah, once it gets to a certain point, you gotta say something, even if they tell you not to.
I'd rather lose my best friend than actually lose the life of my best friend any day.
So what other kind of questions do you guys have?
I wanna know how it just started out of nowhere and just became so popular.
Just sort of how fentanyl is getting to our schools.
I wanna know how it even got to the point where it is so easy for somebody my age to get their hands on it.
I think the right folks to answer those questions are police detectives who bust drug dealers. I'm going to ride along with Detective Forsythe and Lieutenant Love from the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
Is the biggest issue right now fentanyl?
People think that they're taking a regular oxy or a Percocet, and they're getting something laced with fentanyl, and then they're overdosing because it's a lot stronger than what they're used to.
Are they making them in some fancy lab they've created, or in the kitchen, or where's this happening?
In one situation, they had ran out a storage locker, just think like an old, nasty, unclimate-controlled storage locker that's got bugs and stuff from it.
Oh, what about the girl we had over here that was mixing her fentanyl up in her bedroom? But she's getting high at the same time, so who knows what the heck she is making. It's amazing where people hide stuff. We've had them hide it in piles of dirty baby diapers.
Yeah, that one was disgusting. They actually kept their stash where they were pulling it from to sell in the giant pile of old, used, dirty diapers.
Well, go to the ecstasy dealer, and you get pulled over, the fastest place to hide something is in your body.
Yep.
And when he was searching, there's 100 ecstasy tablets hidden inside his anus.
Yeah.
A lot of drug dealers will hide stuff in places like that. And then they sell it, and the people who buy it have no idea where it's been, but they still use it.
Love can't be on camera because he does a lot of undercover work. But Detective Forsythe is going to tell us about the business of drug dealing.
So Detective, tell me a little bit about where we are.
So this is one of the neighborhoods that it's near our local college. Pretty high traffic area. Drug dealers move into these areas because it's lower income housing.
So the drugs in the streets of West Virginia, where are they coming from?
China, Mexico, the cartel shipping them across the board. I mean, this is a $1 trillion business. A lot of the traffic that we're seeing in our area is coming in from places like Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, Georgia, the big hubs like that. Fentanyl gives the same type of high as opiates, but it takes way less. The drug dealers are buying in bulk. They can come down here and they can charge more because there's less supply down here. And then from there, they can step on it or cut it with other agents.
So when the drugs are being cut, they're essentially being watered down.
Yes, they'll mix it with anything from baby laxative to Dr. Scholl's foot powder. They try to cut it down the best they can to where the person's still getting high, but it's not gonna hurt them. But ultimately, you know, they're not trained chemists. They're just winging it. It's kind of like, you know, playing Russian roulette or gambling. You know, the house is always gonna win.
So how does all of this relate to young people?
Young kids, they can't take the type of dosage that even an adult can. So it just, that's how we're ending up having kids found in bathrooms, janitor's closets, overdosed because they, you know, they took half a pill they got off their buddy, or they you know, hit a vape that was laced with something, or you know, they smoked a little bit of weed on a one-hitter, and now they're unconscious.
And almost like there's no concern for how much is in it.
They're making money. You know, they're not worried about who they hurt. It's just, it's business to them. It's not personal.
What if you could ask a drug dealer any question?
Why? Why are you doing these things? Do you know that like your product is ending up in the hands of the youth?
How'd you end up doing this out of all things?
Are you proud of yourself?
We're about to meet with an incarcerated drug dealer who is willing to talk.
Susan, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've actually been incarcerated for 18 and a half years of my adult life, and every bit of it has revolved around drugs. I was a user and a seller of fentanyl, and it's just been an ongoing thing with drug addiction.
How did that first start?
As a kid, basically peer pressure. You know, just the group of people I hang around, and I felt, well, I'd be cooler if I would fit in with them.
I mean, it's probably a little easier to start selling once you've done it yourself. How did that begin?
In the family that I came from, very prominent people of my county, I kind of felt like a black sheep, and I felt needed when I was selling because I had plenty of friends. They was always coming around, and I felt like I was in the spotlight with that.
What did you start out selling?
I was selling roxycodone 30s, 30 milligram roxycodone. I was making trips down to Florida and bringing thousands of pills back.
When did you see it really fluctuate into fentanyl?
It was around 2014. I was about a mid-level dealer. I was purchasing ounces of it. It all had to revolve around my addiction to drugs, because if I wasn't selling, then how was I going to supply myself? And I had a very hefty habit. About $800 a day was my habit.
Were you breaking them down with
Yes.
the pills?
Yes. I pressed them into the Roxy 30s that I used to sell. They make presses for those, and you take the fentanyl and you put it in and press those into pills.
The pills are identical. I'll hand you these cards and kind of do a little test,
Alright.
and you can tell the difference between which one you think is real or fake.
I would say that's real. Is it real?
It's fake.
That's a fake pill? Okay.
Yeah, it's not real.
This one does not look real, but I know what I'm looking at again.
That's real.
That's real? See, that's how much you can be fooled by.
Right.
Somebody that knows what they're looking at can be fooled by.
Exactly.
This right here, I'd say it's real.
It's fake.
Fake.
Fake. When you press it, it comes out looking identical as a legit medication prescribed by a doctor, and the fentanyl's in it.
So you understood, if I add too much of that, it's a lethal dose.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I didn't care. I was making my money. And I know that's a terrible, terrible thing for any human being to feel. Yeah, I've had people to overdose on my product.
And you knew it?
Yeah. My own son overdosed on my product. I'm not proud to admit that. The sick way that I thought of it, well, if they was getting it from me, at least they'd be here with me and I knew they was safe. And that was a figment of my own imagination right there. It's not safe. And I realized that when I sat on the floor for about 45 minutes doing CPR on my own child. By the grace of God, he's straightened out now, but he could have not came back from that. I've seen it happen so many times I can't even count.
Do you see such a difference with fentanyl?
One time, that's all it takes. One time is all it takes for you to be addicted. They get so addicted to it that it takes more and more to make them feel the way it did when they first took the first one. And within about 4 hours, they're already starting to feel the withdrawals. Getting dope sick is what they call it.
Can you describe some of the withdrawal symptoms?
The cold chills, you would profusely sweat, your legs hurt, your body cramps, vomiting, you lose your bowels, extreme weakness, seizures. It's
so bad that you need another pill.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You live, eat, and breathe trying to get your next high. It doesn't care who you are, how rich you are, how poor you are, how pretty you are, how ugly you are. It don't discriminate.
What would you tell parents to look out for?
Look for changes in their moods, changes in their behaviors, changes in their normal routine. Because one thing kids are good at is hiding stuff. Don't be embarrassed to take them to the doctor and say, drug test my kid, because you'll be saving their life.
We've talked about just how strong fentanyl is, and compared to heroin, it is 50 times stronger. We're going to do a visual representation of the strength of heroin versus the strength of fentanyl. One jar is going to get 1 drop, and the other jar will get 50 drops.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
46, 47, 48, 49, 50.
So right away, what is everyone noticing?
It's completely red.
Yeah, a whole lot of red.
One's pink, one is like dark red. I knew it was stronger, I just didn't know that it was that much. I just thought it was a little.
Yeah, I heard it was stronger, but seeing it's different.
Pretty scary, huh?
It's insane.
In the beginning of this discussion, I asked you guys to write down who you love most in this world. Can you pull that piece of paper back out for me?
My family,
My family.
Jesus, or my parents. Parents. I specifically wrote my mom and my brother.
My entire family.
My mom, my brother, pretty much my family, yeah.
I wrote my little sister. I wrote my dad and my stepmom.
I know when I was your age, I couldn't imagine anything bad happening to myself. I hope that you guys and all of the students who will watch this film will think about that person written on that paper and keep them safe, and keep yourself safe for them. What do you guys hope that kids in West Virginia will get out of hearing everything we've talked about today?
I'd say to step up. And, because what if the person on your piece of paper was going through it?
Like, don't think it won't happen to you, because guess who thought it wouldn't happen to them? The person that it happened to.
I hope they realize how little it takes to kill somebody, and that if they are going to use it, someone's there to help them.
Also think about who you have in your life. Like, you can ask them for help. Don't start it. Don't do it just to like fit in.
You guys were great. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and being so honest.
That was so intense. I wanted to leave everyone with something positive, and I asked them to take a moment to reflect on all the things that they have to live for.
I know we've been about the bad things that can happen at school, but I love school. I love most of my teachers. I love hanging out with my friends.
At Christmas time, it's really fun. When we go cut our Christmas tree, that's always really fun. And so there's just so many things. I have a really good support system at home.
My family, my pets, and my friends.
Cats. Cats are definitely worth living for.
I'm worth living for myself, like I'm worth living for me. Because I want to see where I can go.
We need to put these disgusting drug dealers behind bars instead of giving them a slap on the wrist.
So, with all of that information, our substance abuse prevention program, at the tiered response, we have really focused on coming up with a tiered response in case we actually had an overdose. Now, we were talking about ingesting pills, but this is a situation where kids, it's not just about them ingesting pills. They could be in a field trip, and I know when we went to Charleston, we were all like, ugh. They could touch a dollar bill and get a lethal fentanyl overdose. So the reason why I would ask for a fast track on this policy, we took the state's policy and basically added one blurb to it, which is we would like for our teachers that would like to be trained in the use, not make it mandatory. We're going to have a crisis response team, but make it where they can carry and do things as far as protecting our students outside the school day. We have got a kind of like an AED cabinet that will have the naloxone housed, that if we would happen to have a fentanyl overdose, there would be a team at the school that can go and rescue that person. But currently we don't have any response. We would like to have both. We would like to have the lockbox, and we would like to be able to train teachers that would be willing. This is not just kids that OD on pills. This could be somebody walking up and touching a handrail. Another thing that the state health officer discussed is there are 0 side effects to Narcan or naloxone. There's no side effect whatsoever. If you would happen to misdose somebody, it does not hurt them. It's like water being sprayed up their nose. There are 0 side effects. So that's why I asked the board. I wanted to share this presentation. I know the One Pill Can Kill has a curriculum. We've talked about that in our substance abuse prevention team. We've talked about lots of other curriculums in that. We've developed, one thing we've got developed is a tiered system of support that we'd like to roll out to students. We've talked about lots of different things that will help us have a process down for substance abuse, from vapes clear to if we would happen to have a situation where our students were exposed. So that's what I would recommend us to do to move forward, to make sure that we have a safety process in place, that if we would have an accidental overdose, we'd at least have a crisis response plan.
I'd like to make a motion that we place on fast track review process policy 3205, school naloxone policy, to help protect our students from the predators that are pushing pills on them.
Second.
Alrighty, it's been properly moved and seconded to place policy 3205 on fast track review. Is there any further discussion to that main motion?
That is
that as pass or
that is not placing it on the review. And let me further explain that.
We're passing.
Yeah, it would be
fast track.
The policy would be fast tracked and approved. It is the state policy with one additional line written in there that will allow our teachers to be able to have training and carry in case they need to have that. Lots of different situation, ball games, and so on and so forth. But the waiver of a formation of policy upon 4/5 of vote, all members present and eligible to vote. The board may waive any provision of policy to take immediate action upon a policy's proposal if it's determined that the delay would constitute a substantial detriment to the school system. And I couldn't think of any more substantial detriment if we would have a student overdose.
Yeah.
And not have a way to provide any type of assistance to them. And currently, right now, we do not.
Is there any further discussion?
No, we need to redo the motion.
Okay.
Yeah. I think here, I'll make it. I'd like to make a motion to fast track upon policy 2.7, the waiver of rules of our board, and fast track policy 3205 for the
Naloxone.
policy.
Second.
Okay, so properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on that motion?
Please don't interrupt the meeting.
And then, all right. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right, we will move on to placement of book vending machine at Gilmer County Elementary School as a student incentive.
Thank you, Miss West.
Yes, well,
We're always glad to see you.
Yes, always bring good news in Gilmer. Save the Children, the state director, Catherine Miller, reached out via email and asked if the Gilmer Elementary School would be interested in a book vending machine. And it didn't take us long to say, yes, we would love to have that.
Great idea.
We would love to have that. I think you found a photo of it in your
Yes.
packet. There is a website you can go to, and there's a video. We would use this for incentives. Some thoughts that we have, and of course we want to make it very clear, we'll get it written down, but we'd like to use it for behavior, we'd like to use it for attendance. Also, we have teachers that are using the AR system in their classroom with GURP, like we do with after school. We could use it for incentives with after school, we could use it for our summer program. I think those are kind of the top 5 that we were thinking of. The location would be in the cafeteria, near the bulletin board that's for the after-school program. Therefore, it would be visible to kitchen staff. I think it would be great to use during lunch. And the students who would receive a gold coin, they're called inchy worm coins. When they're given that inchy worm coin for achieving whatever, then at lunch they would go to the vending machine and get to select a book. The way the machine is built, it has room on the bottom layers for wider picture books for our little people, and then as you build up the machine, it has places for thicker chapter books for the older students. I'm aware of a school in Nicholas County that has this machine, and community partners have added to it by donating iPads and Kindles and just other gifts, and then just randomly on the backs of books, those coupons are placed. So a child may get more than just a book to read, they may get a surprise. And I know Mr. Fox is very excited about that idea. So with your permission, I would like to proceed to work on the grant writing for this. Save the Children will give us $10,000 for the book vending machine. The cost you can see is about $6,000. The remaining funds would be used to purchase books. I started on the process, went into the grant platform, began filling it out, and Catherine Miller said, wait a minute, Sherry, I've got one more thing I want to add. So I checked with her today, and she would like to add one more piece to it. So instead of writing it for $10,000, I would write it for $13,000. So may I share this with you?
Sure.
Okay. This is sponsored by the United Way. It is something that is called the Born Learning Trail.
Thank you.
And again, this is something you could look up with a little more information, but this is an image. These would be trail signs, and then at each sign there would be an activity. It would engage our families. I have a thought for where I think it would fit best at the elementary school. And Mr. Fox and I mentioned that. I think I mentioned it to Mr. Price, but we would have to clarify that location with maintenance and several folks. But with your permission, I would like to write the grant for $13,000 to include the vending machine, purchase of books, and then the signage for this trail.
I can tell you, I took the jazz band last year to play at the West Virginia Reading Conference at the Greenbrier, and they had these machines, and the kids love them. The kids love them, man. I mean, they eat this stuff up. I think this would be so cool to have.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing.
Okay. The application is due by April the 15th, so I'll begin working on that, and then we'll place it there at the elementary.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Yes, good things in Gilmer.
And thank you so much
Yes.
for all your hard work.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to place a book vending machine, or to allow Mrs. West to apply for the grant. Is that what would be to apply for the grant?
You need to make a motion for that?
It says
Yeah.
recommendation.
Do we need a
Or
motion
just
for
for the
that?
I don't know if she asked for our approval, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
You have my approval.
Hey,
Thumbs up.
I'll second the motion, so we're good.
Just in case, check mark.
Just in case.
everything's
Clarify
nice
it.
and legal.
All right, so it's been properly moved and seconded to place a book vending machine at Gilmer County Elementary School and have Mrs. West write the grant for that vending machine. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Alrighty, we will move into, we have no old business, so we'll move into personnel. Dr. Manning.
Under service, Brittany Bonnet, recommending hire a substitute classroom transportation aide, and Brittany Bonnet, substitute custodian.
I would like to make a motion to accept the service personnel as read by the superintendent.
Second.
Okay, so been properly moved and seconded to accept the service personnel presented by the superintendent. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Next is quite a lengthy one. It's the extracurricular with lots of our summer postings on here.
Is Susie still gonna drive this summer?
Yep, that's what it says.
Well, I just wondered, because she said she was gonna work on the river.
Yeah. Extracurricular, Tanya Talbot, special education classroom transportation aide, Gilmer County Elementary School, ESY. That's extended school year. And also Leslie Campbell, teacher, ESY, Gilmer County Elementary School. Lori McCord, cook, summer school, GCHS. Dendra Miller, summer school secretary, GCHS. Susan Kirkpatrick, bus operator, summer school. Johnny Eisenhart, bus operator, summer school. Tim White, bus operator, summer school. April Jenkins, cook, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. Donald Hess, custodian, summer school, Gilmer County High School. Brittany Fincham, custodian, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. Sherry West, program coordinator, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. Tina Foster, Healthy Choices tutor, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. Crystal Smith, literacy tutor, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. Jacob Persinger, math tutor, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. Rebecca Chesser, math tutor, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. Amber Fox, literacy tutor, summer school, Gilmer County Elementary School. And Jacob Yoakum, facilitator, Summer Academy, Gilmer County High School. Travis Fisher, program coordinator, Summer Academy, Gilmer County High School. Hannah Wilson, middle school, high school teacher, summer school, Gilmer County High School. Crystal Conrad, middle school, high school teacher, summer school, Gilmer County High School.
I make a motion to accept the extracurricular personnel agenda as read by the superintendent.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept the extracurricular section of the personnel agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Alrighty, we will move into the superintendent's update.
Just want to quickly address the story that was in the newspaper. The story that was printed on the front page of the newspaper. I wanted to just tell the board that's an absolute false story.
Oh,
Did
we
not
know.
happen.
We know.
Well-documented case through the Child Protective Services and, you know, the smear campaign and things that are happening there. I'm not going to get into slinging mud, but what I will give is an update on the positive things that we're doing.
It'd be nice if someone would do
But
that.
I will say, we've got a lot of different good things happening. We've got a substance abuse prevention program that's taking shape. I feel like the work that we're doing with our central office leadership team and our principals administrative team and all of the different groups that we've been working with, the Career Center, our organization with Glenville State College, our commitment and partnership with the West Virginia Department of Education, have all been working to try to make our school system better. And There's lots of things that are still out there that we are not knowledgeable about, like House Bill 3035 with the requirement for literacy and additional aids and things we're still learning about. But we have a commitment to try to do what is good and what is true for our students. And I think that I can speak with the, the authority of the board to say that we have all been working feverishly, extra hours. And so far, our constituency within the district has really tried to help us. Our central office leadership team's been working very hard. We have been trying to meet the demands of making solid improvement towards accountability. And that accountability is what we're graded on. Some of those great things that we've worked on, we looked at our attendance data from our attendance team as we've reduced it to our chronically absent to 18%. We're in striking distance of being outside the red in those areas for the first time in a while. We want to continue to try to work with every stakeholder. As far as what is actually written, do you have confidence or not? I would advise everybody that lacks confidence, call me. Come and work with us. We will absolutely invite anybody.
Absolutely.
Our meetings are open.
All of them.
Call us and come to them. The way that we work is we put the stuff up on the walls and help do shared decision making, and anybody that has any doubt is more than welcome to come, and I will help and participate with anybody.
Get on board and help out.
Yeah, and we are working lots of evenings and overtime to try to get that going for everybody. So I just wanted to make that statement. I'm not going to go into mudslinging or anything like that. I don't do that, but I will say, if you would like to help, or if you have doubts about how our system works, come and call me and come in and work. Let's partner.
Or if you just want to know the truth, contact any of us. We're available all the time.
That's all I've got.
Thank you, Dr. Benny. Alrighty, we will move on to continuous improvement by Ms. Sherry West.
Dr. Minnie asked if I would come and speak in particular about family engagement, and that is a huge piece of what we do at our elementary school. We have a wonderful group of parents, parent-teacher organization that are working even this week for a bingo that we're having Friday evening. So things began in February. We'll just recap February, March. We began with a food drive sponsored by our Wildcat University kids. They set a goal of collecting 250 food items. And they actually achieved that and went beyond and collected 338 items. And again, that involved our students, but I know parents helped with that. They helped provide that food for their students to bring and donate. And as the officers were carrying it out to my car, one student in particular said, "Miss West, I didn't know success could be so heavy." Yeah, when you go above and beyond your goal, it can be pretty heavy. PTO then came in and sponsored a Valentine dance for us on Tuesday, February 14th. Thursday, February 16th at after school, we celebrated reaching our 250 100%, which is halfway of our goal. So we had a kickball game. The Wildcat Wonders, the Blue Thunderstorms, the Golden Squirrels, and the Kings and Queens. We versed each other after school, and we had families that came in and participated, and then we had ice cream sundae bar, so that was fun. With after school, we have family engagement every month. So we have our 4-H club meeting, and immediately after, our parents come in and engage with us, and they're just great about coming. Just before Read Across America Week, there at the end of February 23rd, we read the book If I Ran the Zoo, and then we divided out parts, and the kids got together and created these new animals, and so our creations were on display at the elementary. We had 4 cages of wild creatures created by Wildcat University students. So our parents were there. When I was handing out the animals after the week, several of them said, "Oh, that's my mom's. Yeah, that's my dad's. He made that one." So they took home artwork that parents had made with them. Read Across America Week was a great week. Of course, the kids dress up every day. And then Save the Children came in and supported us with an evening of bingo. We had community guest readers come in on Tuesday. We played bingo for books. Now I know, and I do want to encourage everyone to come out and play bingo Friday night, but adults take it way too serious. I'm telling you, it was way more fun playing bingo with children, because there was not a silent moment. With adults, you can't breathe, you must take it seriously, it's serious. No, they had a blast. We actually had 100, let me see here. We had 15 community partners came to Bingo for Books. So the cafeteria was full of community partners from different agencies that provided information for families. We played about 8 games of bingo, and then we broke and they got to go out and see the Gilmer Grab and Go. That's the name of our bus. The students named it, so we need to get a license plate for the front. Gilmer Grab and Go, the GGG, and we'll take it on the road. So we had several families, about 103, I'm looking here through my notes. Oh, here it is, 56 students with 30 parents, 5 Wildcat University staff, 15 community partners, for a total of 106. We actually had another 55 reservations. So if all of them had shown up, we really would have had a full house to play bingo that night. And the bingo, when you're talking 5th graders to preschool, what kind of bingo can you play? Well, shapes and colors would be a bit insulting to 5th grade, and number 78 would be a bit of a challenge for preschool. So Gilmer FRN had partnered with us, and Jessica Greenleaf found book characters. So bingoing was Clifford the Big Red Dog, Cat in the Hat, various book characters, so the kids really got to play the bingo, and that made it even more fun. We did sponsor the 4-H Roundup, and I'm proud to say the Wildcat University 4-H Club took 35 ribbons home. We had 20 entries in the baking contest alone. And so again, children with parents doing a lot of baking, building sculptures, making projects at home. It was it was a busy time, but a very, very fun time. Our Bingo for Books event, and the following day, Mountaineer Food Bank came in and gave food to children. We gave books to children based on our theme for Summer Boost, which is sports. All of that has been written into an impact story, and Save the Children is publishing it. So I'm not sure where it's being published, but the family engagement pieces in Gilmer County will be shared nationally, potentially internationally. So once I know exactly where, we'll be sure to share that with you. But yes, we have a lot of family engagement, a lot of things happening at our school. This past Thursday night at after school, family engagement, families played board games. And that was fun, just getting around a table and playing some games with your kids off device. So that was fun. So good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. West.
One more update that I forgot that Lisa wanted me to do is the West Virginia School Board Association update. They have, if you're interested in any of these, they're available online, but just let Lisa know so we can get you scheduled.
All right, we'll move into board member comments. And I guess I'll start, and I'll try not to make this a tangent, but this evening, I think this has probably been one of the most beneficial meetings that I have been to since I, got on this board. The math, team presented, what a wonderful job they're doing. I mean, you can see it. I think the kids are truly enjoying it. And if we can get it incorporated in on the elementary level, why wouldn't we do that? I mean, it makes sense. Again, when it comes to, other presentations, we had the kids in for their stories this evening. Again, what a wonderful opportunity that those kids had to showcase their work, to make, the county know how good, our school system is giving them a solid foundation to be better citizens in this, community. I want to thank Mrs. Butcher. she stepped in at a rough time at the high school. Her leadership is excellent. She was the principal when I was a student there. And, I think I got a sound education from Gilmer County Schools.
Thank you.
Everybody. It's the whole system. There's lots of people that we can, Dr. Minnick for the work that he does every day, to make sure that we're out there and we're, getting, our voices heard and things. And to sit every week and have to read the paper, it's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
And, you know, again, I think like several board members have commented this evening, if you truly want to know what is going on in Gilmer County Schools, please reach out to us. We're not going to not answer you. We're going to make sure that, you know, if you have questions, that they're answered. And if we as board members can't answer them, we'll send you to the superintendent, and that's what we pay him to do.
Yes.
You know, I don't know how else to say it. That's just kind of how I feel at the moment. And I want to thank you all for, you know, attending this evening and the work that you do for the students of Gilmer County.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. I just had a couple things. I would like to congratulate Grace Adams in our Gilmer County FFA chapter for getting third in the upperclassmen creed, and to Rayanna White for getting first in the freshman creed, and she will be going to states. As far as the extension office goes, they will be having a Pick Your Prize 4-H bingo Friday, April 14th at the Gilmer County Rec Center. Doors open at 5 and games start at 6. The WVU Extension Office is offering a grazing school, and you can contact them at 462-7061 if you have any interest in that.
What is that again?
A grazing school about livestock grazing.
Okay.
So for farmers that
Yep.
have an interest in that. Also, the state FFA officers are raffling tickets. All the proceeds go to the Mountaineer Food Bank. As you know, the Mountaineer Food Bank serves food insecure neighborhoods in 48 counties. And if anyone is interested in buying tickets for that, they can contact me and I can send you in the right direction. That's all the information I have. And I would just like to say that my family has been in Gilmer County since the War of 1812. And the Democrat is an embarrassment to all of our residents. So please, anyone that has any questions about our school system, please contact me directly. I'm available at my office 5 days a week, 462-7460. I'm also available on Facebook through Hillary Miller or my Board of Education. And I'll be happy to give anyone that has any questions the facts about all of the wonderful, wonderful things that are going on in our county right now.
Thank you, Dr. Miller.
Anybody else?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. I'm just going to say very quickly, I agree with my colleagues up here. Let's see. Late last week, I received an email from my wife who said Home Economics brought her over some seafood chowder that had a lot of shrimp and crab and good stuff in it. And I just want to remind the home ec department at Gilmer County High, I only work at Glenville State, okay? I can literally be in your classroom in 5 minutes or less, all right? We both have the same last name. You don't have to just email her. All right, moving on. Sorry I had to burn time with that, taxpayers. Anyway, today, my good buddy Jeremy Carter from Academic Success over at the college, he and I went over to the high school and played for the sixth grade students. We didn't actually, for this one, we didn't play. We came and we did a lecture. They are studying the civil rights movement. So we came over and we did a lecture on the music of the civil rights movement, Say It Loud by James Brown, Joan Baez, Blowing in the Wind, all that cool stuff. Talked a little bit about psychedelics and the Beatles and Magical Mystery Tour. And man, they were, first of all, they were a great audience. They were very polite. They raised their hand to talk. They had great questions. Man, they know their stuff. I was really, really impressed with them. And then Jeremy and I had just enough time to get in the car, drive downtown, go to the new Italian joint. We both had the cheese pizza, highly recommended. Then we grabbed our instruments and went over to the elementary school where we played for after school, and we taught them about how woodwinds and brass instruments make sounds. I showed them how to play the flute, the clarinet, and the saxophone. Jeremy showed them how to play the trumpet, the trombone, and the euphonium. And then we played some Disney greatest hits for them, and they were also a wonderful audience with great questions, very well behaved, and it was a very, very good day at both schools.
I bet they loved that.
It was a blast.
I'd like to thank Calhoun Banks, and I think that Dr. Miller might be able to tell a little bit more about that.
But yes,
Another
it was
positive
a really
thing.
exciting thing. Calhoun Banks, and forgive me if I don't give accolades to people because I'm not sure who all worked behind the scenes, but Calhoun Banks came in and they set up kind of a real world experience for the kids.
Right.
So they gave them a job, and then with the money they would make from that job, they had to then pay their rent, and if they were gonna buy a car, they had to buy their car with that money, and buy groceries, and I don't know how in-depth cell phones. So, Kara came home and had sticker shock. She said, and I don't remember what her occupation was she was given, but she's like, I had to ride the bus. She said, I didn't even have enough money to have a car. I had to ride the bus. So it was very exciting.
They call that the reality check.
Yes.
That's what they call
reality
it.
check.
Yeah.
And actually, it was Calhoun Banks and the CIS, the two CIS at our school that did that.
The assessor's office and the sheriff's office have volunteered to increase their misery next year by taxing them. So be sure and give them a call next year. They said they'd be happy to help.
I looked at all of the associated costs, and I can assure you that their costs for haircuts were way under the.
Yeah.
They had no clue what a real haircut cost.
Yeah, Karen was appalled.
But it was, their responses to me were that it was definitely a good thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoyed doing that, and that adulting was very serious business.
Yes. Don't do it. 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
The only other comment that I have is that I consider this board and everybody sitting here, really most in this room, you educators, as a team, and we are working as a team. I think when Dr. Minnie first came in, he set the mood and was a leader of that, as working as a team. We do that in our meetings. We do that in all facets of education, working together. And with what's being publicized and what such not, I just want to say this. Right here to the right of me are elected positions. We were elected. Everybody here, besides Dustin, sorry, but we're elected. If you don't like what is happening here, number one, first give us a chance to respond and to try to make things right. I am a people-pleasing person. I try to do good by everybody. So, and I think most all are up here are the same with being and spending time with them. I think everyone. Let me rephrase that. I think everyone up here is like that. So, with that being said, we are elected officials. If you don't like it, here in a couple of years you'll have a chance to change that. But until then, come and talk to us. Thank you.
I suppose I should make some sort of comment. First, what was it, Christian Academy? I wish them the best of luck. I think it was, good of them to come out. I think education begins and ends in the household with the parents. The school system is a government entity. Government is of the people, for the people. So, with that said, my role here, I'm from Gilmer County. I come from my family. My father owned a construction company, so I've seen the blue collar side, the hard work side. I see the career center. I see what we're doing there. I look forward to the continued expansion there, preparing the students who wish to go into employment or into the workforce from that manner. I think, education's important. I went to college. I was afforded that ability. I was able to go to stay here, finish up my degree in accounting. I've had success in my career from that. I see from the business side an opportunity of entrepreneurship, and I always think that's a strong facet of the education system. Could better prepare students from a business standpoint to go out, and if they don't see themselves in employment, they don't see themselves in continuing education, they see an opportunity to build something of their own. And I think every person is capable of any of those things. And I think my time here showed that, our effort is to make the school system better, and I look forward to continuing to do that with everybody.
All right. Is there any further board member comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Been properly moved and second that we adjourn the meeting. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Dress up for me today. I appreciate it, but not necessarily.
Yeah, thank you.